Ugh, gas prices. They're not just a pain at the pump, they're a headache for the entire global economy. Oil prices are rising again, and every time they do, the world feels the shock. So why is a single commodity so powerful? Why does it affect your grocery bill, your travel plans, and even government budgets worldwide? Let's break it down. Hey, welcome to the channel. First things first, oil is the backbone of transportation, manufacturing, and energy. So even if you don't drive, you still pay for oil because it's often hidden in the price of the goods you buy. And when oil prices rise, those higher costs spread throughout the economy like ripples in a pond. Let's start with shipping. Oil is the lifeblood of the shipping industry. When prices go up, shipping costs go up, which means your stuff arrives at the store with a higher price tag. Airlines also feel the pinch. Jet fuel is basically oil in disguise. So higher oil prices mean higher ticket prices, but that's just the beginning. Next stop, agriculture. Farmers rely on oil for planting, processing, and transporting their crops. So higher oil prices mean higher food prices. The list goes on from logistics to heating to manufacturing. Oil is involved in making almost everything we use. So when prices rise, those costs get passed on to consumers. But some countries are more vulnerable than others. Japan, India, and the EU are big importers of oil and other commodities. So higher prices hit them harder. In fact, the EU is facing a serious energy crisis right now. Russia is one of their biggest suppliers, but conflicts in Eastern Europe have disrupted those supplies. The EU has tried to find alternatives, but it hasn't been easy, so they've been paying more for less, which has weakened their currency. That means each country's money can buy fewer goods both at home and abroad, leading to inflation. For countries like India and Japan, the situation isn't much better. Both import a lot of oil and other commodities. As prices rise, their currencies also weaken, which leads to inflation and less purchasing power. But wait, let's zoom out for a minute. Rising oil prices aren't all bad news. Countries that export oil like Saudi Arabia and Russia are sitting pretty. They earn more revenue from selling oil, which boosts their economies and gives them more money to spend. And do not forget the investors who own oil companies, or the workers who get raises to keep up with inflation. They also benefit from rising oil prices. So we have winners and losers. But what does it mean for the whole world? Rising oil prices are a serious issue for poorer nations. Not only does it mean higher fuel subsidies and weaker budgets, but it also makes imports more expensive. It's a vicious cycle. They need to buy more expensive oil, which weakens their currency, which makes imports even more expensive. And if that wasn't bad enough, there's also the risk of a global recession. Remember back in 1973 when oil prices quadrupled after an oil crisis? Well, that led to a global recession. Or in 2008, when oil spiked above $100 a barrel. It contributed to inflation and a market crash. What these examples show us is that oil shocks ripple through every economy, whether you're a big exporter or importer or somewhere in between. And it's not just about the price of gas. It also affects exchange rates and inflation, which can lead to recessions. So what does this mean for us? Well, rising oil prices usually mean rising inflation. When businesses pay more for oil, they raise their prices, which means you pay more for everything from groceries to plane tickets. If inflation starts to rise too quickly, they might raise interest rates to slow it down. That also slows economic growth. So higher oil prices can put the brakes on our wallets and our economies, but it doesn't always have to be this way. One ray of hope is that we may be able to reduce our vulnerability to oil by investing in renewable energy sources like solar and wind. Over time, this could reduce our reliance on fossil fuels and help insulate our economies from price hikes. Until then, though, oil is likely to remain a major economic headache. We'll have to keep an eye on those price hikes and take steps to mitigate the damage. Thanks for watching. Do you think the world will ever break free from oil dependency? Drop your opinion below. See you next time.